Hello, hello. We're watching part of the Lou Dobbs TV show tonight, Lou Dobbs Tonight, October 30th, 2008. And let me first make a comment that it is criminal and immoral, unconscionable, what this federal government is doing to the American taxpayer.
These other economies, and doing so while frankly not jeopardizing, I mean, we have literally squandered this nation's wealth in so doing. Peter Morisi, let's listen to, if you will, each of you please, what Henry Waxman, the chairman of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, had to say today about the institutions, 9 financial institutions, receiving taxpayer money in the Wall Street bailout. Here's what he said. I question the appropriateness of depleting the capital that taxpayers just injected into the banks through the payment of billions of dollars in bonuses, especially after one of the financial industry's worst years on record. We have talked with Congressman Waxman's office. They haven't received a response from anybody. In addition to this, half of the money spent so far on these banks will go over the next 3 years to dividends to their shareholders as things stand right now. That is unconscionable, is it not, Professor Morisi?
Absolutely. We haven't seen hubris on the part of aristocrats like those in New York since just before the French Revolution. It's absolutely absurd that Vikram Pandit, who himself was paid $155 million to sell a bogus hedge fund and put the money in his pocket to Citigroup's shareholders, is now prepared to dole out millions and millions more in bonuses to his executives for the privilege of running that bank into the ground and then borrowing tens of millions of dollars from the American taxpayers. And it's not just Pandit, it's Thane over at Merrill Lynch and all the others. This is what destroyed Lehman Brothers. They took half the profits of Lehman Brothers, put it in the pockets of the executives, and essentially declared the place bankrupt. It's obscene. It's beyond reproach.
You know, Lou, I talked to a number of Japanese officials and bankers in the last week or two, and I've said, you went through this experience in the 90s of a financial crisis. What did you learn? And I was surprised that quite a few said, we made the mistakes of giving the banks the money and not requiring anything. And in fact, I said, what would you have done? He said, we would have basically, we would have not privatized it. We would have taken the banks over, had a workout team, essentially temporarily nationalized.
That's what's happening
right
here. And as a matter of fact, we heard from the Treasury Secretary, we've heard from the Democratic leadership of this Congress that they were dealing with the issue of CEO compensation. They're going to constrain it. There'd be no golden parachutes. Now we find out that they're lying through their teeth, and neither party, Democrat or Republican,
we both know
with both of them.
I don't think the banks are being foolish because
the banks are being foolish. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Before we get to the banks, can we talk about $200 billion in taxpayer money floating into the pockets of shareholders who should be bearing the brunt and the responsibility of the failures of these institutions, and the executives who are taking down billions of dollars when they drove these institutions into the ground?
These executives have quite simply purchased the United States Senator. Folks like Dodd and Schumer from New York, they've collected enormous campaign contributions from these guys, so now they're willing to turn a blind eye. All the bailout bill did was keep them from giving golden parachutes to the 5 top executives and limit tax deductions on their pay. But the vast majority of executives at these institutions will be free to continue to get millions of dollars in bonuses.
Bruce, you're going to get the last word here. We're running out of time. Your thoughts on what in the world happened to... I thought the Republicans were supposed to have some compunction about prudence, responsibility, moral hazard. I thought the Democrats were going to actually be serious about constraining excess compensation to CEOs and executives. Both of these parties are frauds, are they not?
Yes, absolutely. What we're doing to the entire financial sector is turning it into Fannie Mae. We're going to have a kind of public-private kind of partnership deal where the risks are all borne by the government and all the profits go to private executives, as was the case with Fannie Mae. And I think that that is fraught with risk. I think we need to sell off the government's share of these enterprises as soon as we possibly can and privatize them and have a true free market, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime
Lou,
soon.
the deal was when the Congress said we'll give you the money to the banks if you lend. They're not lending.
That's right. We have a
the
bankers'
tragedy.
strike.
Gentlemen, we appreciate it. Thank you.